play into that. Suyo is going to have a bit of space to go ahead and work around with, especially around the Zaman Force. And it also works pretty well with the Cho there if they can actually get the kicks they're looking for. But he's going with Moskov.
Right. I was wondering, like, why is there one golden I'm forgetting? My brain kept going through Granger, but hey, the Moskov has that knockback, which is much needed here.
Yeah, well, if you guys would need 1,000 diamonds, you can get a chance right now. Scan that QR code. Super fans, we want to know. Predict who the match winner is going to be. Just scan that QR. Let us know. You can let us know in the chat as well. But if you want a chance at getting those diamonds, 1,000 diamonds, you have to scan the QR code. You can see the... wow, the prediction already heavily in favor of it at TNC.
Huh? Which makes a lot of sense. They were impressive yesterday.
Yes, sir.
And after this draft, I will go back to one of my comfort analytical points, which is just look at the glue. How well will TNC be able to manage the presence of James? Because if you don't give it an early death, if you don't respect it by in Turtle 1 or Turtle 2, then this could easily shift towards Omega. Very close in terms of the lineup rating. So yeah, boils down to Turtle 1 and Turtle 2 and how that will be managed by both teams.
Well, let's find out. We're going to be jumping into the Land of Dawn. It's our second match of the day. This best of 3 for Superfan Saturday, my bad. I always get thrown off.
Yeah.
Yes, it's Saturday here. We're jumping in to the Land of Dawn.
Yep, loving the energy from the Phoenix Army.
Yeah, the drums are like right by us.
Yeah, I just saw Remar got jump scared.
Yeah, no, I straight up mouthed expletives. I did not expect that. I'm glad that I didn't accidentally say it out loud. I would have lost my job.
Yeah, that's all right, you know.
Really loud, guys.
Yeah.
The drums of battle are in here.
It's funny
Right beside us.
They were the crowd here was so intently listening to the analysis of the in-house casters, which is the Filipino cast. And then once the draft and the analysis was over, it was drums, noise. I was like, where did that come from? Okay, so James goes for the full tanky emblem set as the glue, as expected. When you're playing a pick-off roam, and then you pick up something like a glue, that is your roamer for most of the time, because it's going to be the one getting information for Perxiva if it's not Perxiva staying forward. Plus, he's going to be that guy extending the team fights as much as possible. Netsky handling the laning well up against Beniguti, being very aggressive with it. So it's a good sign right now for Omega at the start, but TNC are not far behind.
Yeah, still waiting for that.
I think Chaknu is going to have a bit of a difficult time on this Cho unless he's able to go ahead and match. Because my biggest thing, anytime you're against a Kalea, is are you able to somehow figure out a way to match or at least stay in touch with the balance between sustainability with the Kalea provides to the team. And that's why we were so straight on the point of you need to revitalize. You know, there's something that you need, but he might have just been in one of those situations where this was the best option. He is going to go ahead and poke down Ryzen, but he'll just regen that back up in the fight for the turtle.
Flicker coming in from James as well as Perxiva trying to work on 3 Mar. That's the real world manipulation already committed 2 though, but they bring the fight outside the box. And now it's 3 Mar who gets picked off instead.
Great play there by Omega. That's why we put a lot of idea on this glue with that tank. That's not going to be going down. Perxiva took a lot of damage, but still made his way out of there. TNC were just forced back. Great positioning by Mingwin. He decided to dash forward once their RWM went down, and then once James got to lash onto someone, that readjusted the fight to outside the box of Stome. Right before that, Mingwin picked up the RWM of the Eve, so that just helped cap off the kill. Great start and great fight for Omega.
So they have their own box to play with if they want to. If he continues to go ahead and take the real manipulation, which is most likely what he's going to take. I'm also wondering if there will be at some point where we see Mingwin decide to take the way of the dragon, because we have seen Valentina's do that before. And so far, even though Valentina's probably one of the most picks right now, there's a great amount of players that are good at just juggling the options in terms of ultimates to be able to go ahead and take for the certain situation.
Probably, especially when Netsky's already online or part of the fight, that's when you could be a bit more decisive on using or picking up the way of the dragon so you get access, because even earlier we saw what Chakno really intended to do. It's that he's the guy capable of just going in, probably poking Ryzen a little bit, but Omega just the same. They were so quick to make a call that they will not mind this guy.
Yeah. TNC need to build an advantage before Turtle 2. A pick-off, get 5 versus 4 going, or 4 versus 3 going for the next turtle, because with how it's going right now, it seems like they cannot find an opening to build an advantage. Even James is cutting comfortably on the lane of the Phobias so that they can just match and join here. I think we're going to end up with a full 5v5 for this next turtle, both junglers in their respective purple buffs.
Yeah, I think that's why they just kind of be a little passive, at least until this objective comes up, especially because earlier Chakun didn't have a flicker. He might have to be the one to go and start things up, but no!
It's Omega still starting every single fight, and now it's going to be 3 more, unfortunately falling. -1 for TNC, and they have all the space in the turtle pit to themselves.
All they needed was a tsunami slam to set things off, and they even got a flicker out of 3-Mar, but it didn't matter.
Yeah, great start there by Omega and PerkZiva. Chakun actually saved his kick for the eventual entry of Ryzen, but even that being used as a defensive tool, it could not lead to much. Yeah, the difference in the EXP lane picks. 3-Mar here is a sitting duck. Every time he shows up in front, gets a vision and entries for TNC, that's going to be the easiest Tsunami Slam pickoff for PerkZiva.
Look at the difference in the gold lane because of the way things have been going. I mean, Benny Cutie's been trying to farm up, but he finds himself falling even further behind now.
Yep.
And this is one of the things about the Moskov. You really need to be able to allow that Moskov to come online, but Netsky might get focused down here.
Yeah, he's getting ganked by 3. Still has the Purify, finally uses it, and the Tsunami Slam just to save him right there! They actually go for the outplay, but the SOD will land! And Benny Cutie finds the final blow! They finally get that pick off towards Netsky in exchange of 3-Mar.
Signal number 2 doing it with the flicker!
Penguin! The captain with the way of the dragon! And now the Phantom Steed from Ryzen, but they're not going to pursue Storm. Side is left all alone. The clapback from Omega.
That's the star-making play you're looking for, and Omega steals the purple. Oh no! Zaida still got his own purple buff, so it's a small win for TNC, but in the end, it's massive gains for Omega.
Gets his purple buff, but I mean, Zaida, we got to see something here, man. It's unfortunate because he's on a Suyo, but there's no opportunity for him to make a move because every single time it's TNC responding to Omega, the setups, and that's why that Kalea was such a good pick. And imagine, you only got the Purify for Benny Cutie to work against that Tsunami Slam. Well, that's why they're going for 3-Mar. They're blowing 3-Mar up.
Yeah, that's the thing. You would assume that even if they go after 3-Mar, 3-Mar as a Phobius is capable of holding out. But we're not seeing that happen exactly. Oh, Chaknu gets terrified, now brought in with the Tsunami Slam, still has the flicker to survive. It's Netsky, who Zaida wants to go for, but under the turret, Omega seems to still be safe. Now it's 3-Mar and Chaknu going down. Mingwin on a mega kill, and all this time, Ryzen just took the turtle, and Omega are still going for more.
It is still on their time right now that TNC is trying to play to. Great layering and man marking by Omega, maximizing their crowd control and the sheer amount of damage that they have. Netsky is going up against a lineup that could be hypothetically very difficult for a carry, but Omega are playing around their gold laner incredibly well. Mingwin and PerkZiva, the roam mid of Omega, are putting this team on their shoulders.
This is what we wanted to see from Mingwin, and this is what we wanted to see from Smart Omega yesterday. And I'll say it, Ryzen was right. This is a different Smart Omega today, and they are giving it to TNC right now in Game 1.
Yeah, just as we thought TNC was slowly getting their momentum too. We're slowly figuring things out. Now the Storm, it's slowly getting denied by the Barangay. Just look at how Netsky's already that much ahead. I'm also specifically looking at Mingwin if it's in terms of being ahead, because he's already almost 2K ahead of Storm, who just made such a great debut yesterday.
And look, when it comes to those little skirmishes and team fights, without the glue, TNC look like they have a chance. With the glue, it's complete recalibration of how they're going to be taking the fights. They're repositioning, they're waiting for key abilities, they're much more cautious. But without James around, that's where TNC are a little bit more gung-ho. All right, I think we can get a trade. Maybe then we back off after this. So still they do not have an answer for what is an earlier, excuse me, it was a second phase pickup by Omega. TNC are still waiting for Benny Cutie to catch up on the farm. Looking at it, it's almost a 2,000 gap. He's only one item locked in so far in this game.
Yeah, but it's this waiting that Omega just constantly takes advantage of. Even in the past few turtle fights, you want to look at Chaknu, you want to wait for whatever setup he is gonna do, but it's always Omega who catches them by surprise. So now they're forced to play a more defensive and yeah, it looks very funny. But
he's hustling, man. You can't, you know?
He's just...
You got a full-on hustle. That's exactly what James is doing. This is definitely a game I would go with James.
Okay, yeah, come back here first.
Yeah, that's going to be an easy Lord. Picked up Smart Omega, massive lead. We're talking about 7,000 gold.
All he did was run.
Yeah, you know what's funny though? A Glue is able to do that. He just kind of zones out the opposing team by just being there.
Yeah.
Oh, possible jump in. Nope. Doesn't pull the trigger on it. Perkziva will go ahead and wait. But they do have the Lord to go ahead and march towards with for TNC. This is going to be such a dire defense.
Did he do that just to, go away?
Just to force it back. It's a clear shot by Ryzen just to tell them, even if I use my ultimate way too early, you guys cannot fight. That's how far behind TNC is right now. And you gotta credit Perkziva. He's also one of the biggest reasons that's why he's here. 100% kill participation.
Yep.
Very sure with every pickoff that he's getting, Omega are maximizing the tsunami slams that most of the time it's 3-mar. If it's not 3-mar, it's Chaknu. And they know without one of the main frontliners, TNC will crumble, especially with the lead that they got early. Here's Omega topside.
Holy shields are already down. The Lord now jumping in. Another tsunami slam brings in Chaknu, but at least it's Chaknu for TNC. They can still deal with this Lord.
Yeah, both Holy Shields will get popped though. An RWM spent by Stone just so that they can send Omega back.
Yeah, that's okay. That's still a successful defense right now for TNC because all they really have the option to do is buy enough time to be able to get back in this game. And, you know, across the board, just how much behind they are, they need plenty of time to do that. Now, their composition will allow them to go ahead and defend at a decent pace, but the same thing. Once Omega decides to go ahead and push it in like that, like we saw with the Tsunami Slam, it was just, they didn't get Chaknu down, so they couldn't continue to punch through, and also just getting rid of the shields and keeping it disciplined, taking those down, setting up. A Flask of the Oasis now for Perkziva on this Kalea. They'll continue to take down the tier 2 turrets and get ready to potentially force something, because that's what the Kalea allows you to do. Just like the Cho would, supposedly, you can actually force an initiation before an objective fight comes up, but again, TNC is just left to trying to find scraps on the map.
Yeah. So clean, so very Filipino is the performance of Omega right now. And I think TNC might have forgotten something that you gotta do if you have something like a Cho pick-off style and you don't really have early answers for the glue.
What's that?
Something that hasn't happened in a while because of what happened in the meta in M7, which is giving up Turtle 1 and Turtle 2 to try and build a push on the opposite side of wherever the turtle spawns.
Yeah.
So that's the macro trade that you're looking for. You're at least going to get side lane towers, potentially even if the timing is right, a bit of jungle farm steal, while the other team is getting turtles. That way you're still catching up in the objectives. So what happened in Turtle 1, again, we have to revisit it. They couldn't build that advantage. It was Perkziva who initiated, TNC. Even if their counter, I think they couldn't have handled it any better. Still, it was too easy for Omega to win that fight. So I think with a little bit of an adjustment that we have right now with these old strategies returning, these old picks returning, you have to call back to the old trades. SOD, he just tried to steal it, but it was too early by Benny.
Yeah, well, you got no information to help you. Might as well just throw it out there, see what can happen. Now, we have to see if TNC, despite being down almost 11,000 gold, probably one of the biggest gaps we've seen so far up into week 2, if they can pull it off, if this lineup is actually going to keep them into this game. At this point, when we put it in perspective in terms of a time, guys, we're looking at they need like 8 minutes or more, maybe 10, to buy into this game and somehow get some massive shutdowns across the board. Benny finally has the Trinity. He's got it, but can he stay alive if Omega decides to go ahead and push it in? He's going to clear the waves the best he can while they go ahead and wait for that Lord to make its way up top.
Yeah, no more Holy Shields as well. We're already past the 12-minute mark, and there are just so many players from Omega who could potentially try and force out that Purify that Benny has, because he seems to be the or one of the most viable targets, or even if they don't consider him to be just yet, they can just go for it like that. Another Tsunami Slam committed. It's going to be Chapnu. Now they have enough resources to just burst him down. James 2 going in. Will he be the trade this time? There goes the Dark Wave, knocks him up, but he still has the flicker and survives. So now Omega are just working on the turn, but Netsky gets picked off. Okay, the counter real world. And Omega might not want to fight this anymore, but he still decides to go in. Another Phantom Seed from Ryzen! Perxiva doesn't land the Tsunami Slap because he still had his Purify!
Okay, TNC defense. I think they shrunk the clock a little bit. Instead of 8 or 10 minutes, they need a little bit more, maybe about 6.
I'm going 7. I'm not gonna say it. For Omega, Netsky should not have died there. I believe he, if I'm not mistaken, did he dash into the wall past it, or was he kicked back by Chaknu? I wasn't really clear on the interaction there. But one, Netsky shouldn't have died. Two, the guy who saved that for Omega was Perxiva. If he didn't decide to just jump on Benny Cutie to force him back, he dashed back and then he had to force his Purify so that he doesn't get Tsunami Slammed back. He definitely saved that. He dashed in.
He dashed in.
Okay, so
he did best goal later in the world moves.
yes.
Oh, Nets. Brother. Benny Cutie, great SOD, great follow-up, forcing back, of course, Omega. But then Ryzen also popped off his Phantom Steed just in time. So on both sides, you actually got to see some great capitalization. TNC capitalizing on Netsky dashing in and just trying to damage, even with the turret still up at bot at that time. While on the other side for Omega, protecting their escape and making sure that they just don't get chased down by Benny and TNC.
Good pickup here defensively, because I was wondering in the last fight like how close it was that Benny Cutie got to death. Well, now he's at least got a win in nature to go ahead and help him a little bit here, because I would expect Netsky not to be that aggressive this time around as he approaches. But let's see here. Oh, they're gonna make a play. Whoa!
Oh, wait, that's Chapnu! Yet again, constantly the recipient of the Tsunami Slam, but this time it's Benny Cutie trying to join, but it seems like his damage is not enough. He's up against 4. Immortality pop for 3 more. Now he goes down 2, and so does Benny. It's a complete wipeout by the Barangay, and 15 minutes is all it took as they take the first game of this series.
Well, Ryzen definitely did not BS any of us.